Aloha and welcome to PurEpoxy-Hawaii.com. Please subscribe if you haven't already and ring that notification bell to be notified of upcoming videos just like this one. Today on PurEpoxy-Hawaii.com we're going to be showing you how to grind concrete floors for epoxy. The tools you'll need for just about any concrete grinding job are a floor grinder, a handheld grinder, diamond grinding wheels, orbital sander, 100 grit sandpaper, a concrete vacuum, shop vac, mop and bucket, crack filler, sand, putty knife, and a measuring cup. The first step is to diamond wheel grind the floors, and the objective is to remove the cream layer of concrete. Now the floor grinder is getting up about 90% of all the grinding here, and he's doing that all over the middle of the floor, just going back and forth. And we should have a vacuum connected to it, but that part is being used by the handheld grinder. And here he is using the handheld grinder, going along the edge where the floor grinder would have a little bit of difficulty because we couldn't see where it was going. So you use a hand grinder. This is what bare concrete looks like. It's very shiny, it's very smooth, and epoxy does not stick to any shiny surfaces, and that's why we have to remove the cream layer. This is properly ground concrete. You can see all the gouges in it. You can even see the flecks of aggregate in it. This is properly ground concrete ready for epoxy. After all the grinding is done, it's time to vacuum up all that concrete dust, and we use a special concrete vacuum for that. After that's done, we want to blow out any remaining dust with a dust blower. Just going back and forth, blowing all the dust out. After that, we HEPA filter vacuum the rest of the floor and the remaining dust, and we get it all out of there, and this actually reveals cracks in the floor. This brings us to crack filling. We have to fill all the cracks in the concrete floor, or all the epoxy, because it's so viscous, so liquidy, it will go right through those cracks and just keep gravity feeding until it stops. That removes, the epoxy that's going to be on the surface and just wastes it going down the hole. So what he's doing is he's widening the cracks with a angle grinder and going behind it with the vacuum to get most of that dust up. Now we're widening the cracks so that we can put in sand and crack filler. After widening the cracks, it's time to blow out the dust from those cracks. So we use a dust blower and go right into those cracks and blow all the dust out. And now it's time to wipe up the remaining dust out of the cracks with just plain water and a rag. He's just going over the cracks with water and a rag to get any remaining dust out of there. And now it's time to fill the cracks with sand. He uses a trowel, or you can use a putty knife, to basically screen the sand into the cracks, and then also removing the excess sand. Now it's time to fill the crack with crack filler. We use a crack filler that has two parts, part A and B. We mix them a 1-to-1 ratio. We usually mix only about 8 ounces at a time because the crack filler sets up very fast. And so as he's mixing it, he's going to start pouring it in the cracks very carefully. It's a little bit messy because you've got to go fast. And here he is pouring in the crack filler very carefully, moving as quickly as he can because it does set up within about 2 minutes. So in about 5 minutes from now, this will be hard as a rock. After that's set up, after the crack filler is set up, we've got to grind down all the high spots because the crack filler does expand in the crack and then on top of the surface. So we've got to grind all of that crack filler flat. After all that grinding, you made a bunch of dust, and of course, you guessed it, more vacuuming. So we vacuum all that dust up from the crack grinding, and after that we use a mop and bucket with plain water to mop up the remaining dust. As he's mopping, you can see where the wet spots are and how fast it dries. That means that the pores in the concrete are now open from the grinding and ready for epoxy. And that concludes our lesson for today. If you've learned anything new, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more informative videos just like this one. Please visit PurEpoxy-Hawaii.com. Thank you.